Hey people, Strategist 418 coming back at you with another video. And of course, today I would like to talk about Signalis. Now, I heard a lot of people pronouncing this game's name as Signalis. I don't know if those people just have accents or that's the way you're supposed to pronounce it, but I'm just going to say Signalis because that's just the way naturally it comes to me. Oh yeah, and I also got 1,000 gamer score. Repeat, 1,000 gamer score on Signalis. Oh yes, I am a survival horror master. I'm kidding, but getting all the achievements in the game is not hard. It's actually pretty straightforward. It's really just beat the game and beat the game again on the hardest difficulty. Or if you just beat the game on the hardest difficulty the first time through, you'll pretty much get all the achievements. It's really not that difficult. But playing this game on survival is an absolute challenge, and it's a lot of fun. I didn't think it was going to be fun, but it was a lot of fun. There's a lot of times I died very cheaply, very annoying, but and the damage is crazy. Like, you get hit like twice in this game, and that's it. That's it. On survival difficulty, that's it. But anyway, Signalis. Anyway, Signalis is a indie survival horror game made by two people in Germany. I didn't realize the game was actually made by two people until I got to the fake out ending in the game. And this game has literally one of the best fake out endings because I thought I beat the game and I didn't beat the game. But anyway, this game is designed by two people. And essentially what they were trying to do was they were trying to make a survival horror game that had the DNA of Dead Space, the DNA of Resident Evil, and the DNA of Silent Hill. So in this game, this is true survival horror. Like, you're gonna have limited resources, you're gonna have limited ammo, and you're gonna have limited inventory slots. So if you're not used to older survival horror games in the 90s, I think you should either stay away from this one or adapt. Now, this game is definitely welcoming to newer players because it has a map that kind of updates as you do things, and it marks things down like Resident Evil 2 Remake. So it's not that hardcore of a Resident Evil of a survival horror experience, but it can be if you so choose. You know what I'm saying? It's not exactly this game. Signalis is not exactly a walk in the park, especially on survival difficulty. Even on normal difficulty, it's still hard. But you know, with that little introduction out of the way, let's actually get to talking about the game. So in Signalis, the premise of the story basically is that you play as this Elster unit. She's trying to search for this girl that she worked with, that she was assigned to work with, and whatnot. The game's story is very, very strange, very weird. When you play through it, it's kind of one of those stories that's very abstract. You have to piece things together. You're not gonna understand a lot of what is going on in the game. It's very abstract, very obtuse. And I love stories like that. And I liked Signalis' story because unlike a lot of modern day video games where they just kind of beat you over the head with exposition and they beat you over the head with a lot of cutscenes and cinematics, Signalis doesn't really do that. Signalis more gives you a lot of notes to immerse yourself in the world of Signalis, and also they give you a lot of information on the different units that exist within the world of Signalis and their temperaments, what they were based off of, when they were created. Because every unit in Signalis, when you pick up the notes, they're based off of actually some sort of personality, some sort of um, fundamental setup of the human mind. You understand what I'm saying? And when you see that, it was really interesting to read those notes as I went along in the game. So from a story perspective, Signalis is very obtuse, but it gets the job done because I love a story that doesn't beat you over the head with its themes, with its cinematics. A lot of AAA, well, this isn't a AAA game, but a lot of modern video games tend to like to beat you over the head with their story, and story tends to be sometimes, a lot of times, my least favorite part of a lot of games nowadays because they just show so much and don't tell. But Signalis does a lot of telling and also a little bit of showing, but not to the point where you just get exhausted. So let's get into the gameplay. Let's talk about the gameplay. My favorite part of Signalis. So I actually did 2 playthroughs of this game. Now let me first preface this. This game can be very difficult if you do not, especially when your first playthrough. This game can be very difficult if you do not know what you're doing. It can be incredibly difficult. First of all, in this game has a mechanic where when you kill enemies, you just kill them, they actually reactivate. Now, in the game, they give you these items that you can just go ahead and you can dispatch of foes by, you know, burning the corpses, because for some reason you come across a file in the game where you learn that replica units, which is what the enemies are called in this game, replicas. You learn that when you kill them normally, they don't stay dead. They take a little bit of time to actually respawn and get back up, so it makes exploring areas a lot more tense. Now, to me personally, I actually sometimes did not like this. Now, I know Resident Evil Remake is my favorite game of all time. However, Resident Evil Remake, I think, handled resetting enemies. I don't know, resetting enemies or respawning enemies. It handled that a lot better because it took a longer time for them to come back. And it was just, I don't know, Signalis just, I feel like I've killed enemies in this game, and I remember I killed an enemy in this game with a stun rod, a replica. I stunned her, and she literally got back up. Like, I left the room, I came back, and she got back up in like less than a minute. So that is stupid. You understand what I'm saying? I do not really like the fact that the enemies get back up in this. At least every enemy gets back up in this game. You understand? And it's not like they give you that much thermite or flare rounds. You also get a flare gun and flare rounds to burn the enemies. It's not like you get that much in the game anyway, so it's a very scarce resource. But it's nevertheless, it's still tense, and it still makes for a great survival horror experience when you are able to utilize those resources to strategically deal with your foes. So gameplay wise, Signalis plays like a top-down isometric game. You're going to be seeing mostly everything from a top-down point of view. I would absolutely say this game is very atmospheric as well, and you're going to definitely feel chills playing this game. It's so funny. This game is not very graphically, you know what I'm saying, impressive. It's like a PlayStation 1 title. I mean, you guys know I love PS1 games. I love older type art style design games. I don't know, whatever. Retro games. I love retro games, right? But this game still managed to give me chills, even though it was just a pixel, 3D pixel type game. It's crazy. I think it's just the way the music, the way the atmosphere, the lighting, the way the game looked absolutely terrified me in a lot of areas. Just made me get chills. I was just looking at a lot of the different parts of the game in a lot of parts of the game. a lot of things are covered in this red flesh, that this red biomass. Like, it reminds you of Silent Hill. A lot of parts of the game remind you of old school Silent Hill. The enemy designs, a lot of the enemies remind you of old school Silent Hill. Silent Hill 1 through 3. And you can definitely see that was a clear inspiration by the two developers who designed the game. Was Silent Hill. A lot of, especially, there's this one part of the game, I'm not going to spoil it for you guys, obviously. There's this one part of the game that's literally Silent Hill. Silent Hill in the modern day. It's crazy. It's amazing too. I literally, when I first seen it, it was just like, wow. This is Silent Hill. But nevertheless, Signalis is a very tense, hardcore. Uh, it's a gritty experience, man. Yeah, especially when you play this game on survival, it's going to definitely challenge you. It's going to push you to your limits. Not that, I'm gonna say it's super hard of a game, but it's challenging to the point where you're going to need to think, and you're going to need to strategize in certain areas of the game, depending on what you have to do. A lot of parts of the game, you're just gonna end up running past enemies. You're gonna end up dodging because you don't want to waste your ammo. You don't want to use your ammo up and end up not having enough ammo, enough healing resources later on. So this is a true survival horror experience. It's not a gimmick. It's not, oh, it's kind of like survival horror, but it's really action. No, this is really survival horror. So if you guys are like me, you love survival horror, you're a survival horror fanboy, you love your Resident Evils, you love your Silent Hills, you love, all these old school games from the 90s and the early 2000s, right? Go ahead and pick up Signalis. It is a fantastic game. Now, there also are, of course, a couple of flaws that I have with Signalis. One of the flaws is, like I said before, in the aforementioned resetting enemies, respawning enemies. It does make exploring other areas very annoying, and you have to backtrack a lot in this game. And that leads into another flaw where you only have 6 slots. You never upgrade your slots in this game. You only stay at 6 slots. 6. The whole time. Signalis is a game where you got 6 slots, which is unacceptable because in the old school Resident Evil games, you always had slot upgrades for the most part. I think the only one you never had, it was maybe like Resident Evil 0. But throughout all those classic RE games, they always had slot upgrades. So this game absolutely needed a slot upgrade thing so that we could at least get more slots, so it would lessen the amount of backtracking, because this game has a lot of key items, has a lot of items it wants you to hold, and just having to backtrack between the save room over and over and over again, it just makes it a lot more tedious. And also it does get frustrating because you end up having to deal with those respawning enemies, and either having to use use up your ammo resources or use up your health resources. It just becomes a problem, in my opinion. So, but that also could have been remedied by giving us more flares and whatnot. But that's besides the point. Those are the only real flaws that I've had with Signalis from playing it twice. I did a normal run and also survival play. But it seems like the indie scene, man, is the place to be playing survival horror games. And it seems like survival horror, or just horror games in general that's not first person, has been getting a resurgence lately. We have, the Callisto Protocol, we have Dead Space Remake, we have Resident Evil 4, we have Alone in the Dark coming back with the remake. We also had some other games like Alyssa that came out, and Signalis. I mean, it's crazy. We, survival horror fans and horror fans who don't only like playing first person shit, we're actually getting games now, and it's amazing. I'm playing all of them. I don't care how bad they are. I'm hearing bad things about Callisto Protocol. I've been playing it. I have about 3.5 hours of it on Steam. I'm enjoying it so far. The gameplay is, You know, I don't know. We're gonna reserve that for another video. Ain't gonna talk about that yet. Callisto Protocol is coming up. Then look forward to that. You should be playing Callisto Protocol. Well, at least I don't know if I'm gonna do you should be playing, but you know, we're gonna do something on Callisto Protocol. Let's see how Callisto Protocol goes, people. Yep, and that's my review of Signalis. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys learned a little bit more about Signalis as a survival horror experience. It's not very expensive. It's about $20 on Steam, and I also played it on Game Pass, might I add. So if you want to save a little bit of money, you can also play it through Game Pass. It's also available from Humble Choice. I'm going to be linking all the necessary ways to get the game in the description. But I hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you learned something a little, interesting about the game. Either maybe when you played it you didn't know, or when you're going to play it you're going to know. So maybe this review is kind of preparative for you. But either way, however you received it, I hope you guys enjoy, and I hope you guys definitely play this masterpiece. Well, master stroke, I guess, in survival horror gaming. Strategist 418, I love you. Hope you love me. And I'm out. Peace.